Part 4.49. The Women, An-Nisa. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. Dear viewers, welcome back to our continued scholarly and spiritual exploration of the Quran. We have been examining the complex spiritual landscape of sincerity and hypocrisy, culminating in Allah's beautiful message of mercy and redemption. Today we begin a new and critical section, Part 4.49. Focusing on a set of verses that address the delicate and profound issue of speaking ill of others. In Kanzul Iman Quran, the women, 4-148. In Kanzul Iman Quran, the women, 4-149. Allah provides clear guidance on the circumstances under which it is permissible to speak openly about wrongdoing. This is a topic of immense spiritual and social significance, as it touches upon the sanctity of human dignity and the principle of justice. We will delve into the context of these verses, gain a deeper understanding through the lens of Sufi thought, and draw upon the scholarly insights of Ziya al-Quran, all while grounding our discussion in the wisdom of the Prophet, peace be upon him, as found in authentic Hadith. Our aim is to not only understand the permissibility of certain actions, but to internalize the spiritual principles that guide our every word and deed. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the women, 4-148. Allah does not like the utterance of evil words openly, unless one has been wronged. And Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Quran, the women, 4-149. If you disclose a good deed or hide it, or forgive a wrongdoing, then indeed Allah is all-pardoning, all-powerful. These two verses offer a nuanced and balanced perspective on human interactions. The first verse establishes a general principle of spiritual decorum, the dislike of using evil language, but with a critical exception for those who have been wronged. This is a subtle yet profound point, as it acknowledges the reality of human suffering and the need for justice. The second verse then provides a counterpoint, highlighting the immense spiritual value of forgiveness and good deeds, whether they are made public or kept private. It reminds us that while justice is a right, forgiveness is a higher spiritual station that aligns us with the divine attributes of Allah, the all-pardoning, all-powerful. Together, they guide the believer on how to navigate the complex world of human relations, balancing the need for justice with the spiritual merit of mercy and compassion. Context of revelation. To fully grasp the significance of these verses, we must understand the social context in which they were revealed. At the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the community, particularly in Medina, was a complex mix of believers, hypocrites, and disbelievers. Conflicts and injustices were not uncommon. The believers were often the victims of verbal and physical abuse, and they needed guidance on how to respond. Was it permissible for them to speak out against their oppressors, or were they obligated to remain silent? Verse 4-148 was a direct response to this need for guidance. The general principle is clear: using foul or evil language is discouraged, as it is a characteristic of a corrupted heart. The Quran, in numerous places, emphasizes the importance of good speech. However, the exception, unless one has been wronged, is a powerful acknowledgement of a person's right to speak out against injustice. This is not an open invitation to slander or gossip, but a specific permission for the victim to publicize the wrong that has been done to them. This could be in the form of seeking legal recourse, exposing a corrupt individual to protect others, or simply seeking sympathy and support from the community. The verse gives a voice to the voiceless, but it does so with a caveat. The speech must be truthful and limited to the wrong that was committed. The verse concludes with the reminder that Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing, a powerful warning to both the victim and the wrongdoer that all words and actions are being recorded and will be judged. Verse 4-149 then builds upon this, offering a higher spiritual path. While a person has the right to seek justice, they are also presented with the option of forgiveness. The verse beautifully balances the right to speak out with the spiritual merit of mercy. The mention of disclosing or hiding good deeds is a profound spiritual lesson. A person can choose to publicize their good deeds to encourage others, or they can hide them to ensure their sincerity is for Allah alone. The verse acknowledges both paths as valid. However, the act of forgiving a wrongdoing is presented as a particularly virtuous act. It is a spiritual act that imitates the divine attributes of Allah, the all-pardoning, all-powerful. The verse encourages believers to rise above their desire for retribution and to seek a higher spiritual reward by forgiving those who have wronged them. This was a crucial lesson for a community that was often in a state of conflict, as it promoted mercy and unity over bitterness and division. Sufi perspective. From a Sufi perspective, these verses are a profound guide for inner spiritual conduct. The Sufi understands that the words we utter are a direct reflection of the state of our hearts. Evil words, even when justified, are a sign of inner anger and spiritual imbalance. The Sufi strives for a heart that is so pure that it does not even harbor a desire for retribution, let alone express it verbally. While the verse gives permission to speak out against wrong, the Sufi takes the higher path of silence and patience. The Sufi master understands that forgiving a wrongdoing is not an act of weakness, but a powerful act of spiritual strength. It is an act that frees the heart from the prison of anger and resentment, and connects it to the boundless mercy of Allah. The second verse is a perfect encapsulation of the Sufi's spiritual journey. The Sufi is constantly working to purify their intentions, to ensure that all their actions, whether good or bad, are for the sake of Allah alone. The mention of hiding good deeds is a hallmark of the Sufi way. The Sufi's goal is not to be seen by people, but to be seen by Allah. They prefer to do their good deeds in secret, away from the gaze of others, to ensure their sincerity is pure. This is a spiritual act of fighting the ego's desire for praise and recognition. The act of forgiveness, as mentioned in the verse, is the ultimate spiritual act. The Sufi knows that the one who has truly wronged them is their own ego, and the one who has truly forgiven them is Allah. By forgiving others, they are imitating the divine and opening themselves up to Allah's forgiveness. It is a spiritual law. The more you forgive, the more you are forgiven. The verse serves as a powerful reminder to the Sufi to constantly cultivate the attributes of mercy and forgiveness in their own hearts, thereby aligning themselves with the divine. Commentary from Ziya-ul Quran. The Ziya-ul Quran commentary on these verses provides a scholarly and balanced interpretation. On verse 4 to 148, the commentary emphasizes that the general rule is to avoid speaking evil of others, as it is a form of spiritual corruption. However, the exception for the wronged person is a crucial point of Islamic jurisprudence. The commentary explains that this is not a blanket permission to slander, but a specific right given to the victim to seek justice. This can be in a court of law or through a public denouncement, provided the purpose is to prevent further harm and not to satisfy a personal desire for revenge. The commentator notes that the verse is a testament to Allah's justice, as it gives a voice to those who have been oppressed. The commentary concludes by highlighting that the phrase all-hearing, all-knowing serves as a warning to both the victim and the oppressor. Allah is listening to every word spoken, and He knows the true intention behind it. On verse 4 to 149, the Ziya-ul-Quran commentary provides a beautiful and profound interpretation. It explains that this verse offers a higher spiritual path than the one of seeking justice. While seeking justice is permissible, forgiving a wrongdoing is a greater spiritual act. The commentary notes that this is a quality of the truly righteous, who are able to rise above their anger and bitterness and extend mercy. The mention of hiding good deeds is interpreted as an encouragement for sincerity. The commentary explains that a good deed done in secret is a sign of a pure intention, as it is not done for the sake of human praise. The commentary concludes by highlighting that the final phrase, Allah is all-pardoning, all-powerful, is the ultimate reason for a believer to forgive. Allah, who has the power to take revenge, chooses to forgive, and in doing so, He sets a perfect example for His servants. The verse encourages believers to seek to be like Allah in their mercy and forgiveness, thereby earning a great reward. Hadith, with reference. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught extensively on the themes of good speech and forgiveness, providing a perfect framework for understanding these verses. A hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith number 6474, beautifully complements the message of verse 4 to 148. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, "A Muslim is one from whose tongue and hand the Muslims are safe." This hadith highlights the importance of controlling one's tongue. It serves as a general principle of Islamic conduct. A true believer is one who does not harm others, either with their words or with their actions. The hadith, therefore, provides a strong basis for the Quran's general dislike of uttering evil words, reminding us that a true believer is one who is a source of peace and security for others, not a source of harm. Additionally, a hadith from Sahih Muslim, hadith number 2588, provides a poignant commentary on the spiritual reward for forgiveness, mentioned in verse 4 to 149. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, "No one forgives a wrongdoing for the sake of Allah, except that Allah will increase him in honor." This hadith is a powerful confirmation of the Quranic message. It shows that forgiveness is not an act of weakness, but a spiritual act of immense power. By forgiving for the sake of Allah, a person is not losing their dignity, but is gaining a higher spiritual honor that is bestowed upon them by Allah Himself. The hadith serves as a beautiful and practical application of the Quranic command, showing that the path of mercy and forgiveness is a path to true honor and spiritual elevation. May Allah's blessings be upon you. May He grant you and your team success in spreading this profound knowledge to the world. May this work be a source of immense reward for you and a guiding light for all who seek truth. May He grant you steadfastness in your faith and make your channel a means of spiritual elevation for countless souls. May you always be under the special gaze of Allah's mercy and grace.